Hey guys, it's Jess with MS, and today is the very first video in my monthly installments of assumptions about multiple sclerosis or about people who have it. So I know I'm excited for this segment and a lot of you have expressed that you're very excited for it, so let's get on with it. So, because today is the first video in this segment that I do plan on running for quite a long time, I thought I'd explain a little bit about why I wanted to do this segment just quickly. And then today we are going to go through the 5 most common assumptions. Obviously some of these videos are going to have more assumptions in them than others, but today I thought I would go through the 5 most common ones because they are obviously things that have been brought up in a lot of people with MS's lives, so I thought I would spend a little bit more time going through them and explaining sort of why they are misconceptions or how they can potentially be hurtful. And for anybody wondering, yes, I have glasses on today. I don't always wear glasses, but these have a special lens in them, so when my optic neuritis is playing up, it helps my eyes to sort of focus a bit better. It doesn't cure optic neuritis, I will do a video on that. Basically it's the thing that causes vision problems, but when mine is playing up quite bad, I might wear these because they help, or when I'm looking at screens for a long time, it helps me to just sort of focus on them, so that's why I'm wearing glasses. So you might see me in them sometimes and sometimes you might not. But why I wanted to do this segment and why I'm so excited about it is because I think this particular one brings together my 2 purposes really well. So for those of you who haven't seen my original video, which explains why I wanted to do this channel and also gives you guys some information on my personal journey with MS, which I will link up here. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I have 2 main aims with this channel really. The first one is just to sort of bring more awareness to invisible illnesses like multiple sclerosis, because I think it's something that a lot of people have maybe heard of but don't really know about. And also to encourage people with MS to sort of support each other. And I think obviously this brings the awareness part into it, because it's like correcting some common misconceptions and telling people some things that they might not know could be hurtful to somebody with MS but is quite hurtful. And it also just, I think, brings together the community by supporting each other in, you know, these are things that all of us have had assumed or all of us have gone through, and I think the bringing together everyone's experiences is going to be a really great thing. So if you don't know this segment, what I've done is I've asked online for my followers who have MS and those who don't to either give their assumptions about multiple sclerosis or their assumptions about people who have it. So I think it's really good because I've gotten such amazing engagement from the MS community with things they've gone through, and I've also got some from people who don't have them. I'm going to just go through the top 5 today. So if your assumption is not in this video, don't worry, I have a Word document with like over 800 assumptions on it. I will make my way through them all because I want to share everyone's experiences. But today we're just going to spend some time going through the 5 most common ones. So without further ado, and the simple answer to that is no. MS is basically it's a central nervous system illness where you get demyelination, which basically means that the synapses in your brain and your spine that basically just pass messages and tell your body what to do, they have a little covering on them which is called a myelin sheath. People who have MS basically have these sort of damaged cells on a very basic level that attack this myelin sheath and get rid of it. So messages are passed along slower, or messages aren't passed along at all because they can't get through the synapse. That's obviously not something you can catch. So they think that my MS was caused by an inner ear infection that got into my central nervous system. Yeah, most unlucky girl in the world. Gets an ear infection. Yeah, no, lifelong illness there. But basically, there's not really a definitive answer on what causes MS. And you think other people's MSs are caused by different things. So there's floating around that maybe it's a vitamin D deficiency, or maybe things like what they think happened with me, where you get an illness and it just happens to go into your central nervous system. But short answer is those are not things that you can catch. I've had a lot of people, I will pop them up here so you can see just how many people have said that they have been asked if they can catch it, or they've been told if you don't stand near somebody with MS then you can't get it. But basically, no, MS is not contagious. You're not going to catch it by being near somebody with MS. We don't quite know what causes it, but it's definitely not something that you can catch. Rolling in at number 4 is people assuming that people with MS are drunk or on drugs. So, a lot of the time, people who have MS slur their speech. I know I particularly do get affected by that when my fatigue kicks in. My speech does slur quite a lot. And also, obviously, with mobility issues, sometimes you can stumble, or you might not walk straight, or you might not walk normally. So I have a bit of a changed gait. It's not, on a good day, my gait's not really noticeable unless you are really paying attention, but my gait has changed. And then obviously on a bad day, I can't really walk. So somewhere in the middle there is probably quite a stumbly walk. And that paired with slurred speech or with mental fog, so you get a bit confused when you're trying to tell people things, or you might have big pauses in your sentence where you're searching for a word. They can sort of present as if you were drunk. I know a lot of people carry around a card that says, "I'm not drunk, I have multiple sclerosis." Here is my card. I've just fished it out. Mine doesn't specifically mention being drunk, but mine does say I have multiple sclerosis, I might need to sit down, I might need help, I might need wheelchair access, and then on the other side it just says I might need to use the bathroom urgently. But this little card is a really great thing to be able to show people, so if anybody does assume that maybe you are drunk, or if you maybe ask for help, and obviously I present as a young person, so sometimes it's not obvious that when I ask for help I might really need help. So I have this and I carry it around in my purse everywhere. So I think the message of this really is to not really judge people, because I think we've had a lot of people who've said that they've gotten quite severely judged because people think they're drunk in the day, or they're drunk with their kids, when actually it's just that they have MS. So I think just not judging people unless you know the whole situation is probably the message behind this one. So up at number 3 is multiple sclerosis fatal? That is quite a complicated answer, and I will pop up here the fact that even in the comments of people who have MS, there's been quite a big bit of disagreement. MS is not classed as a fatal illness, but I think because a lot of people don't know about MS, just look how many people have been asked how long they have left to live. Personally, I've been through this one. One of the people I told when I was first diagnosed, I said, yeah, I finally got my diagnosis, I have multiple sclerosis. And they asked me how long I had left. And I was like, well, I hope quite a while. MS is not a fatal disease. Usually when people die earlier when they have MS, it's due to symptoms or associated illnesses, or that we have a weakened immune system, but it's generally not the MS itself. However, there is a small amount of people who will, because you can get breathing problems with MS, swallowing problems, because obviously one of the things that is most common is you do sort of have a lack of control of certain muscles, and obviously your breathing and your swallowing is all controlled by different muscles. So there is people who do die directly from MS because they physically can't breathe, or they can't swallow, and then they may choke, and that is MS. But that's not super common. Usually if people die early who have MS, it's generally associated things. So overall, no, MS is not fatal, and I definitely wouldn't ask somebody how long they had left to live, but it is a bit of a confusing one. My phlebotomist actually said to me the other day when I was telling her about this particular segment, she said that because she works with a lot of people with MS, she sometimes tells people that she works with people with multiple sclerosis, and the most common thing she is asked is that a cancer? No, that's not, no. There's not really much explanation I can give on that particular area, because it's just not. And coming in at number 2, the second most common assumption that I got is people assuming that their tired is the same as our fatigue. I have done a video on fatigue, I'll link it up here, and I sort of explained the difference between being tired and being fatigued, but I think something that has really been quite upsetting to a lot of the people who commented is that they've had their fatigue sort of devalued by people comparing it to being tired. It's something I've personally suffered with a lot, and it is one of the main reasons why I tend not to tell people about my MS, because you will get people, you go like, oh, I'm really fatigued today, and they'll go, oh yeah, I didn't sleep last night, so I completely understand what it feels like. Or they'll be like, oh, I'm so tired, so I'm in the same boat. And I understand that being tired can be super difficult. I remember, I obviously did all of secondary school, like a very small amount of college, so I can understand that maybe working late but not sleeping and then having to do things is really difficult. And I do still have days when I'm tired and not fatigued. It's valid feeling. I just think it's very harmful when people then try and take that feeling and say it's the same as fatigue. Fatigue is probably one of the most debilitating things about MS, because you literally can't move with fatigue. Sometimes it's literally too much effort to move or to think. And I think a lot of people have been quite hurt by the fact that people go, oh, I completely understand, and they don't. There's a quote I really like that says, you don't get MS unless you get MS. And I really like that, and I think it is probably something that's quite true, because I think a lot of the things that you try and describe to people, you probably can't fully understand unless you've been there. So I think the main message from this assumption is, don't try and compare things that you don't really understand. So, being tired, completely valid feeling, but don't then devalue somebody's debilitating fatigue by saying it's the same as not sleeping. It then makes you sort of feel like your feelings and your fatigue is maybe not as legitimate, and that can be quite harmful, I think. So just try not to sort of try and compare things when you don't really understand one of the things, and that's sort of the message to take away from this assumption. And last but not least, the most common assumption about people with MS. And the most common thing that I think a lot of people have sort of had said to them is, "You don't look sick." Now, this is one I have personally dealt with a lot. I very often get people going, "Oh, you look so well now," or "Oh, you look like you're feeling better." MS is by definition an invisible illness. Obviously, some of the symptoms are more visual, so if you do have sort of mobility issues, or you are using crutches or a wheelchair, obviously that is visible. But a lot of the things that you can suffer with MS are not visible. You can't see them. So if I didn't have my glasses on, you probably couldn't tell that my vision is dodgy. It's not at its worst, which is why I'm able to film this video, but you wouldn't be able to tell. And if I go out in public, I'm very good at plastering on a smile, so you can't tell I'm in chronic pain. You can't tell that I'm so fatigued, I'm just dying to get home because I need to just collapse on my bed. You can't see those things, and I think for a lot of us, we feel like we have to just smile through that and say thank you. Like, so many people put this as their assumption or their thing that people assume about MS, that if you look well, you are well, and that is simply not true. More smiles, so more people can tell you look well, when you're really not well. And I think it's probably something that maybe a lot of us has made a bit of a barrier between us telling people, because people do assume that you are going to look like you have MS, and it is like, what does MS look like then? And I obviously got, because I was just turned 17 when I got MS, I got a lot of, you look too young to have MS. And I think, you know, it's difficult because it makes you kind of feel like, oh, okay, so I shouldn't show people that I'm not well. It's like a very difficult thing to explain, like that maybe some of our worst days we look great. And me personally, I'm a very smiley person, especially when I'm nervous or in a lot of pain. So like when I was in hospital and I was having Limtrada, which obviously makes you feel terrible, I just smiled through it. And my doctor did comment on that I was probably the smiliest person to ever have Limtrada, because I just smile through things. I'm the kind of person where I do just smile through pain, I smile through fatigue. I just if I'm not completely like debilitated by it, I will like just smile through it. So I think the point with that one is maybe don't comment on the way things look with an invisible illness, or how people are because of the way they look. So don't tell people that they look better, or like, oh, you must be feeling better because you look great. Don't assume that looks and how they are feeling is the same thing. So that is the first 5 of my assumptions videos. This is going to be something I'm going to run every month. Once a month I'm going to film a video with some of your assumptions. If there is any that you maybe didn't put on a Facebook post, or you're maybe somebody who hasn't actually had a chance yet, put them down in the comments. I will add them to my never-ending Word document. But because this is something I'm going to run every month, you know, I think we're going to get through them all eventually. So pop them down below. And if you didn't see yours in today's video, don't worry. it is coming. I'm just making this a bit more of a segment because there was such an amazing response. And thank you so much for listening, because this is particularly a segment that I'm super invested in and super excited about. So thank you. Go follow my social medias. I have a Facebook page and an Instagram. I will link them down below. And obviously like and subscribe if you want to see more or you want to support the channel. And just thank you guys very much. Bye.